Hello, I am recording the video and today's topic is threading. Using threads and threading with .NET you can write applications that perform multiple operations at the same time. Operation with the potential of holding up other operations can execute on separate threads, a process known as multi-threading or a free threading. Application that use multi-threading are more responsive to user input because the user interface stay active as a processor intensive task execute on separate threads. Multi-threading is also useful when you create scalable applications because you can add threads as the workload increases. Note: if you need more control over the behavior of the application threads, you can manage the thread yourself. However, multi-thread programming is greatly simplified with the system.threading.task.parallel and system.collection.concurrent namespace, and a programming model that's based on the concept of task rather than threads. How to create and start a new thread? You create a new thread by creating a new instance of the system.threading.thread class. You provide the name of the method that you want to execute on the new thread to the constructor. To start a created thread, call the thread.start method. How to stop a thread? To terminate the execution of a thread, use the system.threading.cancellation token. It provides a unified way to stop thread cooperatively. Sometimes it's not possible to stop a thread cooperatively because it runs third-party code not designed for cooperative cancellation. In this case, you might want to terminate its execution forcibly. To terminate the execution of thread forcibly in .NET Framework, you can use the thread.abort method. That method raises a thread abort exception on the thread on which it's invoked. For more information, see destroying threads. The thread abort method isn't supported in .NET Core. If you need to terminate the execution of third-party code forcibly in a .NET Core, run it in the separate process and use the process.kill method. The system threading.cancellation token isn't available before .NET Framework 4. To stop a thread is older .NET Framework version use the thread synchronization techniques to implement the cooperative cancellation manually. For example, you can create the volatile boolean field should stop and use it to request the code executed by the thread to stop. Use the thread.join method to make the calling thread wait for the termination of the thread being stopped. How to pause or interrupt a thread? You use the thread.sleep method to pause the current thread for a specified amount of time. You can interrupt a blocked thread by calling the thread.interrupt method. Thread properties. The following table presents some of the thread properties. Is alive. Returns true if a thread has been started and hasn't yet terminated normally or aborted. Is background gets or sets a boolean that indicates if a thread is background thread. Background thread are like foreground threads. However, a background thread doesn't prevent a process from stopping once all foreground threads that being belong to a process have stopped. The common language runtime ends the process by calling the abort method on background threads that are still alive. Name gets or sets the name of the thread, most frequently used to discover individual threads when you debug. Priority gets or sets a thread priority value that used by the operating system to prioritize thread scheduling. Thread state gets the thread state value containing the current state of the thread. When a process starts, the common language runtime automatically create a single foreground thread to execute application code. Along with the main foreground thread, a process can create one more thread to execute a portion of the program code associated with the process. These threads can execute either in the foreground or in the background. In addition, you can use the thread pool class to execute code on worker threads that are managed by the common language runtime. Introducing to multi-threading. This article explains how multi-threading works. You will learn how to operating system manage thread execution and shows you how to manipulate the thread class in your program to create and start managed threads. Multi-threading overview. A thread is independent stream of instruction in a program. A thread is similar to a sequential program. However, a thread itself is not a program. It can't run on its own. Instead, it runs within a program context. The real usage of a thread is not about a single sequential thread, but rather than using multiple threads in a single program. Multi-threads running at the same time and performing a various tasks is referenced as multi-threading. A thread is considered to be a lightweight process because it runs within the context of a program and task advantage of resources allocated for that program. With the task manager, you can turn on the thread column and see the process and the number of thread for every process. Here you can notice that only cmd.exe has a single thread, whereas all other applications use multiple threads. The operating system schedules threads. A thread has a priority and every thread has its own stack. But the memory of the program code and heap are shared among all these threads of a single process. Thank you.